Hi, everybody. It is Saturday, February 15th, as I'm recording this video. And I just wanted to do a quick little video about the prorogation challenge that just took place on the 13th and the 14th. If you haven't heard about it, let me just give you a little 411 on what it's all about. Obviously, if you I have friends that don't know things that are going on. So sometimes I make videos thinking about them, but I know a lot of people that watch my videos are in the know and they know. They know all the ins and outs of everything. But in case you don't know, let me fill you in. The Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms announces that the federal court will hear the constitutional challenge to the decision to prorogue Parliament on Thursday, Friday. So this just happened on the 13th and the 14th. Lawyers representing David McKinnon and Aris Lavranos will argue that the decision to prorogue Parliament was unlawful and that the federal court ought to determine the proper scope of a prime minister's power to advise a governor general to prorogue Parliament. Now, many of you know I've been all over this governor general, completely unimpressed with her. Once I learned that she has a reserve power, she does have the ability to tell Trudeau, we're not doing this, you need to call an election. But she didn't. She just listened to him. And there's really very little defense for doing something like that when Canada is in the state that it is in. I have a friend that is at the proceedings in Ottawa, and he reports for Juno News. I was messaging him a little bit just to see what he thought, and I do follow him. If you want some detailed information, I would recommend you follow him. It's Alex Zoltan on X. Although he's got a lot of followers, so people do know him. But let me just read you a little bit of his article. The JCCF, representing two Nova Scotians who are taking the federal government to court over Trudeau's decision to advise the Governor General to prorogue Parliament, argued the Prime Minister's decision went against the guiding principle of good governance, as spelled out in Section 91 of the Constitution Act, 1867, and that it fell outside the proper scope of his executive power. The challenge additionally argued that Trudeau did not provide sufficient grounds or proper explanation for the decision when he announced it in his resignation speech conference on January 6th. During that press conference, Trudeau relied on just two reasons for the decision. First, to reset Parliament based on his opinion that it has been paralyzed for months. And second, to permit the Liberal Party time to select a new party leader. Okay. I believe that Parliament can still be in session and you can still look for a new party leader. Part of me thinks that this was a very sneaky way to sort of pass the baton to Mark Carney. It's like passing a note to your friend while you're doing a test in high school. You just pass it under the table so that your friend does well because you want your friend to do well. And I think that that's exactly what's going on here. Now, this brings me to this judge. It was a 2-day hearing. It was expedited because Paul Crompton, the judge, is like, we got to get this done fast. We are in a situation. And from everything I'm hearing, it sounds like at least he recognized that. I asked my friend Alex, what do you know about the judge, or what are your thoughts of him? And he said that he liked him. In explaining the reasoning behind expediting the challenge, Chief Justice Paul Crompton emphasized the importance of addressing the serious issues raised, especially in the light of potential challenges such as proposed tariffs by President Trump. And this guy, he was appointed by Stephen Harper. So that gives me some hope, because, all the others have been, the justice system is corrupted, the media is corrupted, so you can't get fair decisions. But that does give me a little bit of hope that this guy was appointed by a conservative, and maybe some of his values will reflect that in the decision making. And it sounds like, from everything I hear in the courtroom, that this guy is on it. I was reading through Alex's feed, and at one point he said that there was a time where Crompton said to the federal lawyers, to the government lawyers, would you like to take a break now? It's time for lunch. And that lawyer was like, no, I'm not taking lunch now. I don't need to take lunch now. And then she proceeded to go on. And then my friend was saying that it just looked like she was losing him. That people were getting hangry. You get hungry, you get hangry, right? She did herself no favors by not taking a little break. Read the room a little bit. Now, I have done events where people are droning on and on, much like I'm doing right now. And you can see that people are hungry, people are tired, like people need a little drink of water or something, like people need to stretch their legs. Take a break, right? You're going to do yourself no favor because you will lose your audience. And I'm hoping that the federal lawyers lost him a little bit, like, mm, not wise, not wise. Also in the thread that that Alex had posted, he did say that the role of the governor general is more than what we realize. It is more than what we're taught in school, that she's just some sort of figurehead. Mind you, I was not taught anything about the governor general as far as I can remember, but that her role was more crucial in this. And the fact that she kind of is a liberal appointee, or she is tight with JT, and she didn't like sort of stand on her own and make her own decisions to say, you know what, this is not the time to prorogue. You know, you don't prorogue Parliament so that you can seek a new liberal leader. Parliament can still resume. And in the emergency that this country is in right now, you know, we got a lot of things going on. Big businesses want to leave here. Things are not good in this country. This is not the time to pump the brakes on everything. This is the time to go forward and to move forward, because this is what the people want. And if we had a GG that, who also got a raise this year, that had a little bit of a brain in her head, then you think she might have steered things in the right direction, but she didn't. Now let's hear a little bit more about the judge and sort of what we can expect.
The Justice Center's lawyers were putting forward our case on Thursday, February 13th, to argue that government needs to be accountable to Parliament under our Constitution. So Parliament is the boss, and prorogation is a valid tool for shutting down Parliament after a session has been concluded, but it should not be used as a political tool by the Prime Minister to serve the interests of his political party. And so we're saying prorogation's fine, of course, but it shouldn't be abused in this fashion. I think the judge is very keen on releasing a decision early. He ordered an expedited hearing, and I would not be surprised if we had a ruling by February 21st. Would not surprise me.
That's very encouraging. February 21st. I mean, these things can't go on and on for months and months. My goodness. Like, we're not in a situation where we have time for that. And I feel like this guy understands that. This judge was also Paul Crompton. He was appointed not by the Liberals, which is very encouraging. He was appointed by Stephen Harper. You might remember the Emergencies Act, the POEC, Justice Rouleau. I don't know how Justice Rouleau sat there and heard all that testimony. We all heard the same thing, and he came to that decision. These liberal appointees, or anybody that was sort of appointed by David LaMette and people like that, and any other judge, I don't know who appointed Rouleau, but like, I know David LaMette has appointed judges that have made decisions, completely dumb-ass court decisions that do not stand for the side of the people. They stand for whatever the liberal mandate is, the liberal agenda is, you know? So I don't know how Crompton got in there. I don't know how they let him in, because it's so corrupt. You think that they wouldn't let him sit to hear this hearing, but they did. And I find that very encouraging. Here's another thing I find encouraging. This is another clip from John Carpay from the JCCF.
The judge was not at all sympathetic to the federal government's arguments that this should be like a normal court case and it should go on for months and years. The judge said, no, if we don't release a decision soon, then the decision would be irrelevant. If we come up with a court ruling in May, June, July, August, then it doesn't serve much of a point.
No,
but
no
because
point.
we might get a ruling as early as Friday, February 21st, that's going to have a real impact, because the court ruling will mean that prorogation never really happened. And so Parliament will be back in session.
February 21st, if that's true, that would just be amazing. My friend, the reporter, also said that Crompton was pretty funny too, and that he really liked him, and that he thought that he was great. So I'll link an article that Alex wrote. He's now working for Juno News about the court proceedings of the 13th and the 14th. I hear that the JCCF lawyers just were remarkable, and watching them was like watching like a Perry Mason type of thing or something, that they just gave it all they have. So that's amazing. This article touches on the Boris Johnson, how he tried and failed in 2019. One other thing, the Liberal Party can absolutely have and proceed with the leadership race, even if Parliament were in session, Manson said, before calling the situation remarkable and unprecedented. But federal lawyers, meanwhile, said the basis for the current prorogation and its duration are virtually incontestable, given the nature of executive powers and prorogation itself, whatever mumbo jumbo that means. But final words from the judge. Hypothetically, the judge asked one of Trudeau's government lawyers, could a government use prorogation to, let's say, avoid a confidence motion? He's flat out asking, did you use this tactic to avoid a confidence motion? And the government lawyer said, there are no limits on prorogation. I really hope we see a good and fair decision soon. They say the 21st. Yet again, we'll see what happens. One other update for you. I spoke to, remember, Eddie Cornell. He's a veteran. He was at the Ottawa protests. He had his bank account frozen by Chrystia Freeland and the Liberals. And Justice Mosley declared that using the Emergencies Act on Canadian citizens and during the convoy was basically not legal, and it was unjustified. And so the feds went to appeal that because they want to win. They want to appeal that decision. So I asked for an update on that, the Emergency Act appeal. And Eddie wrote to me and he said, I think the case went well for us. The government lawyer's only tactic was to make it look like Mosley didn't do a very good job with his decision. My lawyer said that after the first day, they looked at my team with the look like, we lost. I guess like the government lawyers were on the losing team. I hope that's what I gleaned from this. And I said, when will there be a decision? Do we know? And Eddie says he was told it might be as late as November. So that one is about the feds appealing the Emergency Act decision. So that maybe in November we'll hear about that. Gosh, these things just take forever. This is why I like Trump. Trump is just like, get it done now. Here's the due date. You're taking too long. People take too long for things. It's utterly ridiculous. Like when you apply for something from the government, like your passport goes missing for 6 months. That's what happened to me. It's like, how do you take this long? I understand backlogs and things like that, but even just for simple permits, simple processes, they just take so long. So that's about the Emergencies Act. This one is about prorogating Parliament. There's lawsuits flying all over Canada. I'm waiting for the day I can turn my flag the right way. Thank you for watching this video today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like the things I'm doing. I like hearing from you. Your subscription means a lot, and your comments and your likes, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.